In a quiet corner of the world, hidden beneath the vast roots of an ancient oak tree, there lived a small creature named Choate. The tree itself was older than memory, its roots twisting and stretching like great wooden rivers beneath the soil. Sunlight filtered gently through its leaves, scattering golden patterns across the forest floor. To most, this place would seem still and silent, but to those who truly listened, it was full of life. Full of whispers and full of stories waiting to be told. On one such morning as the first rays of sunlight warmed the earth, Choate slowly opened his eyes. He stretched his tiny legs and cleaned his delicate antennae, taking in the comforting familiarity of his home. The air shimmered softly with floating particles of dust and light, and everything felt calm. Yet something deep inside Choate stirred. It was not fear, and it was not hunger.
What was that?
It was curiosity. A quiet, persistent feeling
Who's there?
that there was
Show
something more
yourself.
beyond what he could see. As he hopped onto a nearby leaf and gazed at a glistening dewdrop, he paused. The world reflected inside that tiny droplet seemed vast, almost endless. Choate leaned closer and took a sip of water, but just then a faint sound reached him. It was soft, almost like a whisper carried by the wind. Instinctively, Choate darted behind a root, his small body trembling as he peeked out carefully. But nothing was there. The forest remained as it always had been, peaceful and unmoving. Still, Choate could not shake the feeling
I
that
wish
he had
things
heard
were
something
different.
real, something calling to him from beyond. Determined to understand, Choate stepped forward, looking up toward the sky above the canopy. He let out a small sigh, his thoughts drifting far beyond the safety of the oak tree. For a moment, he imagined a wide open field, bright and endless. A place he had never seen, but somehow
Almost
felt
there.
he belonged to. That was
Just
when
a
he
little
met
further.
Auntie. Auntie was an ant small but incredibly strong,
Don't give
carrying
up!
a crumb many times her size. She marched forward with purpose, her steps steady and unwavering. Choate watched her in amazement.
I see
When
you
she
there,
noticed
little
him,
one.
she paused
And
and
you
gave a
see
friendly
me.
wave.
What brings you to my
Choate
corner of
waved
the
back
woods?
a little shy,
Just
but
exploring.
curious.
What are you doing with that
Suddenly,
leaf?
the crumb
Hello,
slipped from her
Choate.
grasp and tumbled to
Greetings,
the ground.
Auntie.
Without hesitation,
Nice day, isn't
Choate
it?
rushed
Indeed
over and
it
helped
is.
her lift it again. Together, they pushed until it was steady once more. Auntie smiled warmly, grateful for his help, and continued on her journey. Choate watched her go, something new taking root in his heart. Maybe the world beyond wasn't something to fear. Maybe it was something to explore. He decided to follow her. They traveled together for a short while until they reached a small pebble. Auntie stopped and pointed ahead. There, standing tall and silent, was something Choate had never seen before. A massive wall of stone stretching far beyond his sight. Choate felt a chill run through him. The wall was not just big, it was overwhelming. It blocked the horizon completely, as if it had been placed there to separate one world from another.
We must
Auntie
continue.
gave him one
Follow
last
me
look,
closely.
then turned
Yes,
and walked away.
lead the way.
Returning to her duties, Choate stood alone, staring at the wall, his heart filled with both fear and wonder. He did not yet know it, but this was only the beginning. Choate's journey continued, though his mind remained fixed on the towering wall. As he wandered, he soon came across another creature named Beetlo,
Look,
who was struggling
over
to push
here.
a heavy seed
It's
across the
exactly
ground.
where they said it would
Beetlo's
be!
efforts were admirable, but it was clear he needed help. Remembering how he had helped Auntie, Choate stepped forward once again. Together, they pushed the seed until it finally rolled into place. Beetlo cheered with joy, his gratitude shining brightly. Before leaving, Beetlo pointed toward a strange object
Almost
nearby,
there.
a hard-closed shell, resting quietly on the ground.
Success.
Curious Choate approached it.
Just right.
He tapped it gently and listened closely, but there was no response. It felt important, though he could not explain why. Soon after, a slow-moving figure approached. It was Snaily, a wise and gentle creature
Hello
who
there.
had seen much of the world.
Well, hello to you
Choate
too.
asked about the shell, and Snaily nodded thoughtfully
Oh,
before
please,
sharing an old
you've
legend.
gotta help me.
Long ago,
I'm
Snaily
stuck.
explained there were secrets
We're running
hidden
out of
within objects
time.
like this.
Keep pushing.
Messages left behind
I'm going.
by those who had ventured
Faster.
beyond the wall. These messages were not easy to find, nor easy to understand, but they were meant for those brave
Yay!
enough to seek them.
Bravo!
Choate's imagination
Woohoo!
came alive. He pictured the open field again, brighter than ever before. Could this shell hold the key to reaching it? With determination, he tried to open it. He pushed, pulled, and twisted, but it would not budge. Frustration began to take over, and for a moment, Choate felt like giving up. But then came Hoppy. Hoppy was energetic and bold, leaping into the scene with confidence. When Choate explained the situation, Hoppy simply gave the shell a strong kick. To Choate's surprise, it cracked open instantly. Inside, they found something unexpected, a tightly rolled leaf. Carefully, Choate unrolled it, revealing markings and symbols that formed a map.
Look at the
It was
size
a
of
guide.
that shell.
Soon, Mousy joined them, sniffing the map with great interest. With his keen senses, Mousy pointed out a path hidden within the symbols. Choate studied it closely, and slowly, everything began to make sense. The map showed a way to cross the wall. Mousy handed Choate a small stick, a simple but meaningful tool. It was not just for protection, it was a reminder that he was no
Do you
longer
hear that?
alone in his journey.
I
With
think
gratitude,
something is
Choate said
coming.
goodbye to his new friends. He packed what little he had and turned toward the unknown. For the first time, he was not just dreaming, he was ready to go. Choate's journey grew more challenging as he approached the wall. Along the way, he encountered Giano, a mysterious figure who emerged from the shadows.
Greetings.
Giano
Hello there,
examined the
friend.
map carefully and warned Choate of the dangers ahead. The path would not be easy, but Choate stood firm. His fear had not disappeared, but it no longer controlled him.
Do you
Seeing
know
this,
which way the
Giano
path goes?
stepped aside, allowing him to pass.
Just
As
follow the
Choate
roots,
neared the
my
wall,
friend.
the world seemed to grow quieter. Then suddenly he noticed a massive shape nearby. It was Radis, a giant creature sleeping deeply. Every step Choate took had
And
to be
so,
careful,
nestled
precise,
deep within
and
these
silent.
very roots,
At one
the mighty
moment,
spirit of the forest
Radis
still
stirred,
sleeps,
and
waiting
Choate
for the brave who
froze
wears the
completely.
goggles to awaken it.
Time seemed to stand still, but then the creature settled again, and Choate slowly moved forward, his heart pounding. The climb began, stone by stone, root by root. Choate made his way upward. The journey was long and exhausting.
Look at that.
At one point, he encountered Meowza, a sleek and watchful predator. Choate hid in a narrow crack, holding his breath as Meowza passed by, her glowing eyes scanning the shadows. When the danger had passed, Choate continued climbing faster now, driven by determination. Finally, he reached the top. As he stood there catching his breath, he looked out, and what he saw took his breath away. Beyond the wall was a vast world filled with light.
Almost.
In the distance,
I've
a glowing
got you.
city shimmered alive with movement
Wow.
and energy.
Wow.
It was unlike anything Choate had ever
What's inside?
imagined.
I
He had
will
made
open
it.
this.
But just as he began to take it
tricky
all
latch.
in, a shadow
Just
fell
a little
over
more
him.
pressure.
From the darkness stepped
It won't
Red-Eye,
budge.
silent,
Oh dear.
powerful, and unknown. Red-Eye's glowing eyes fixed on Choate. The moment was tense, filled with uncertainty.
Who could that be?
Choate gripped his stick.
I can't
his
believe
small
I
body
messed up
steady
so
despite
badly.
the fear within
I'm
him.
never gonna
This was
find
not
it.
the end of his journey.
But I can't
This was
give
the
up.
beginning of
I
something
have to
greater.
try again.
And as Choate stood there, facing the unknown, one thing was certain. He was no longer the same
Welcome.
small creature.
It's so lovely to
who had
have
once
you
hidden
here.
beneath the roots.
Hoppylands.
He had listened to
hello
the
there.
whisper,
Chwat
and
looks
he
up.
had answered
Greetings,
it.
traveler.
Part
Hoppy
4,
gestures.
the
Beautiful
test of
spot, isn't
courage.
it?
The
Chwat
wind
nods.
at the top
Indeed,
of the wall
welcome.
felt different. It carried scents Choate had never known. Metal smoke,
What's the
distant
matter?
warmth, and something strangely alive. The glowing city
Look at
stretched across
this.
the horizon.
It's truly
like a sea
ancient.
of stars resting on the ground. For a brief moment, Choate almost forgot about the shadow
Yeah.
standing before him. Ridi
Hoppy,
did not
hoppy,
move at
hoppy.
first. The creature's
Hoppy,
eyes
hoppy,
glowed
hoppy.
softly, not with anger, but with something far more difficult to understand. It was as if Red-Eye was studying Choate, measuring him in silence.
What was that?
Choate tightened his
Show
grip on the small
yourself.
stick Mousy had given him. He did not raise it in attack, nor did he step back. Instead, he stood still.
That is the
"I know
funniest
why
thing
you are
I've
here,"
ever heard.
Red-Eye said at last, his voice low and calm, like distant thunder rolling across the earth. Choate swallowed his voice, small but steady. I followed the map. I wanted to see what was beyond. Reedy tilted his head slightly. Many have wanted that. Few have reached this place, and even fewer have understood what it truly means. Choate hesitated. The journey had been filled with challenges, but this moment felt different. There was no path marked here, no symbols to guide him, only a choice. I don't understand everything, Choate admitted, but I know I couldn't stay where I was. I had to find out. For a long moment, nothing happened. Then slowly,
Wow.
Red-Eye stepped aside.
incredible.
Curiosity brought you here,
It is,
Red-Eye
isn't
said.
it?
But courage is what allows you to go further. Beyond this
Oh.
point, there are no maps.
This is a map.
Choate nodded.
Yes.
He took a deep
This is
breath and
it.
stepped forward, passing Red-Eye. As he did, he felt something shift, not in the world around him, but but within himself. The fear was still there, but it no longer felt like a wall. It felt like something he could carry, something he could move through. The ground beneath him changed as he descended the other side. The soil became smoother, the air warmer, and the sounds louder. Strange vibrations echoed through the ground, steady
this
and
is it.
rhythmic.
The
like a
hidden
heartbeat
grove.
far larger than anything Choate had ever known. He had crossed the wall, but the journey was far from over. As Choate continued forward, the world began to reveal itself in ways both wondrous and overwhelming.
What do we
Towering
have here?
structures rose into
So
the sky,
much detail.
their surfaces gleaming under artificial lights. The glowing city he had seen
Squeak.
from afar was now all around him. Everything here was enormous.
Squeak,
The ground
squeak.
was no longer soil, but a hard, flat surface that stretched endlessly in every direction. Lines of
I
light moved
understand.
swiftly past him,
This is
vehicles
the way.
rushing by, each one roaring like a storm. The air buzzed with energy filled with unfamiliar sounds that echoed between the towering buildings. Choate paused, taking it all in. This was the world beyond the wall, and it was alive. At first, the scale of everything made him feel small again.
You are
Smaller than
ready
he had
for
ever
this,
felt
little
beneath
one.
the oak tree. But then he remembered Auntie carrying her crumb with
I won't let you
determination.
down.
He remembered
I
Beetlo
got
pushing
it.
forward
Now we
despite
are
the struggle.
ready.
He remembered Snailey's quiet wisdom, Poppy's bold action, Mousie's
Greetings,
careful
friend.
guidance, and even Giano's warning. Each of them had
Hello
helped him
there.
reach this moment.
Nice to
and
meet
now it was
you.
up to him to
You
continue.
too.
Carefully, Choate began to explore. He moved along the edges of the great pathways,
Time to
avoiding
go.
the rushing giants and their machines. He climbed over
Goodbye,
cracks in
my
the ground that
friends.
felt like canyons
Be safe
and
on
hidden
your
shadows that
journey.
stretched like entire forests. At one point, he found a small patch of green, a quiet garden tucked between the towering structures. The plants there swayed gently, much like those beneath the oak tree. For the first time since crossing the wall, Choate felt a sense of familiarity. He was not as
You
far
ain't
from
passing
home as he
here.
had thought.
Find
As he
another
rested
way.
there, something important became clear to him. The world beyond the wall was not just one place.
Keep back.
It was many
I'm
places
ready.
connected in ways he was only beginning to understand. The field he had dreamed of, the forest he had left.
I found
This
this
glowing
spot
city,
under the
they
old
were all
oak,
parts of
away from the
something much
noise,
larger.
and
he was
realized
part of it too.
it's been the
As
quiet
night fell,
strength
the
all
city
along.
lights grew even brighter, illuminating the world in a soft, endless glow. Choate climbed onto a small ledge and looked out once more. The view was
All
different
right,
now.
the X
not
mark's
distant
right here.
and mysterious, but close and real.
We're
He had
close,
made it.
Giano.
But as he stood there, he felt
Let's
something
move it.
familiar again.
Keep your
a
wits
whisper.
about you,
It was
Choate.
faint, just
There's
like the
trouble
one he had
brewing
heard
in those
beneath the roots
woods.
of the oak tree.
I
But
will,
this time,
Giano.
It did
Thank
not
you.
feel like a call from far away. It felt like something within him guiding him forward once more. Choate smiled. He understood now. The journey was never about reaching a single destination. It was about listening, learning, and continuing to move forward even when the path was unclear.
Step right up.
He turned
the
away
show's
from the
about
edge
to
and
begin.
began walking again deeper into the city, his small figure moving steadily
Huh?
through the vast world around him. Somewhere behind him, beyond the wall, the ancient oak tree still stood. Its roots stretching deep into the earth.
You better
its leaves
keep
whispering
moving,
in the
pal.
wind. And
We don't
somewhere
take
ahead,
kindly to
new
strangers in
paths
these
were
woods.
waiting to be discovered. Choate did not know where they would lead, but he was ready because the whisper had never been about a place. It had always been about becoming. And so, with quiet courage and a curious heart, Choate continued his journey into the unknown, into the light, and into the story that was still being written.
Hrrk. Snurk. Pfft. Snork.